Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got your Week 14 start and sit video for the quarterback position. This is the last week before the playoffs start next week, so everything you do this week is going to make a big difference for you if you were on the fringe, or maybe you're trying to get that first round bye or the most points, and of course, anybody who's got some wagers on that, make sure you guys are paying attention. Now, this is a big deal this week. We've got a lot of teams that are on a bye this week. We've got the Commanders, the Saints, Falcons, Bears, Packers, and Colts. Of course, Week 14, there are going to be this many teams on a bye. So there are a lot of players that are not going to be playing this week. So this is really crucial that you've either picked up players or you've stashed and made sure that you guys are prepared for Week 14, because this is a big one. Again, this week is probably the biggest for everyone, unless you're probably undefeated and you've already got that first round bye. Now, these are the obvious quarterbacks you should be starting this week. Again, whether it be matchup or whether it be the fact that they are just the QB1, they are going to perform for you and be very consistent at what they're going to do. So these guys should be in your lineup without question. Now, the first quarterback I recommend as a good start is going to be Kirk Cousins versus the Lions. Early this year, Cousins put up 18 points against Detroit, had a clean game and nothing spectacular, but just a clean game. Now, the Lions did a good job against Trevor Lawrence, but he still was able to put up 16 points in fantasy. I thought Lawrence was going to do even better, but the Lions did a really good job. Now, Lions allowed 264 passing yards on average and 23.9 points to the quarterback. So again, Kirk Cousins has a really good matchup, and he should be able to succeed in this one. Should be a fun game. Should be a nice little shootout, because I think Detroit can obviously keep up with them offensively. So I'm actually looking forward to this game, but I do like Kirk Cousins as a nice little start. Trevor Lawrence, again, I'm going to mention him like I did last week. He didn't perform as well as I thought he would, but still, 16 points isn't horrible. It's going against the Titans. Titans have been struggling against the pass. They have allowed a minimum of 18 points in the last 4 games. So again, Lawrence should be able to get close to that. They allow the second most yards to quarterbacks with 294 yards, and they allow 21.1 points as well. So this is a really tough matchup for Tennessee against Jaguars. Jaguars have a really good offense. They've just can be a little inconsistent. Lawrence didn't do as well as I thought he was going to again, but I think this is a really good opportunity that he can probably put you 16 to 20 points, hopefully more for you guys this week, but I like him in that range. Now, the last quarterback I want to mention as a good start is going to be Jared Goff versus the Vikings. Like I said, this Vikings-Lions game is going to be a fun game to watch. This should be a really good, fun shootout game. I don't expect a lot of defense. Vikings allowed 19.9 points to the quarterback. They also allowed the league worst in passing yards at 299 yards. So again, this is going to be big. Now, the last 4 games, I will say this, they've also allowed 21 points to the quarterback. So Jared Goff's got a really good matchup. Is he going to be able to get to that point? I expect it. You've got, again, Amon-Ra. Swift looks really good. DJ Chark is back from injury. Maybe they'll sprinkle in Jameson Williams. I don't expect Jameson's going to be a big deal. But again, a lot more weapons for Jared Goff this week. And again, I think he's going to put up a good amount of points. So I like Jared Goff as a nice little start. Now, as far as quarterbacks, I'm going to sit this week. The first quarterback I have is Daniel Jones versus the Eagles. Eagles are the best against the pass. They hold quarterbacks to 11.7 points and just at 200 passing yards. Highest allowed points this whole season that the Eagles have done was Kyler Murray. He put up 17 points. That's it, 17 points. And Kyler Murray can do that to you. So again, Danny Dimes, this is not a good matchup for him at all. He's got a depleted wide receiver core. The defense he's going against is really good, stout. They can get after the quarterback. And they're going to obviously focus on Barkley, because if Barkley is done, Danny Dimes is done. So I don't expect Daniel Jones to have a really good game. Now, Tom Brady's another one I'm really looking at possibly sitting this week. He's going against the 49ers. 49ers are the best defense in the league. They allowed the fewest amount of points, period. They're the best at keeping quarterbacks at a very high pressure. They're going to get after them. They got obviously Bosa on the edge, Greenlaw at the linebacker position. They're doing a really good job of getting to quarterbacks, and Brady does not have the movement. He does have a great pocket presence, but that offensive line is struggling for Tampa Bay. So he's going to be rushed, a lot of short passes, 5 to 10 yards, maybe. So it's going to be really tough. 49ers, again, hold quarterbacks to 13.3 points. It's a really tough matchup. Brady did okay for Monday night. He did put up that game-winning touchdown, which kind of salvaged him a little bit, but he did not play very well against the Saints. He normally doesn't. 49ers is another tough one. Now, the last quarterback I'm going to mention as a sit you should be doing this week is Deshaun Watson versus the Bengals. I'm hoping you guys didn't start him last week. A lot of people were asking questions about him. The guy hadn't played football in over 700 days. Why would he have done well in his first game? I don't expect him to do well in his second game. Plus, on top of that, Bengals actually do a really good job against the quarterback. They hold him to 13.9 points and also only 224 passing yards. So again, Deshaun Watson should not be playing. Is he going to improve? Sure, absolutely. It's expected of him. He's got the talent. But there's so much rust and so much inconsistency between he hasn't had the practice time with his receivers. He hasn't been, he's probably been enveloped in the offense. That's probably all he's been able to do. But again, there's a lot of rust. And against a Bengals team that has done a really good job, I'm not trusting him this week. As far as a sleeper, I've got Tyler Huntley as a nice little one. Going against the Steelers this week, last couple of games, the Steelers have only allowed 11 points per game. So it is a tough matchup, but there's optimism against the Steelers defense. Steelers allow 19.2 points normally to quarterbacks and 266 passing yards. Huntley's done a really good job filling in for Lamar whenever he did get hurt. Huntley did that last season. He's going to get you, whether it be through the ground or through the air. That's one of the things that I like about him is that the game plan doesn't change too much for him because he's a very similar skill set to Lamar. Obviously not as big of a playmaker, and we all know that and understand that, but he's got a very similar skill set, which I think is helpful that the Ravens do not have to change out their whole offense just for him. Right now, Lamar should not be playing this week. That we haven't obviously gotten the full news, but that's the expectant is him going to be sitting and Huntley plays. So obviously Lamar owners, tough to have in the Week 14 matchup, especially against the Steelers team that you were hoping to have. But I like Huntley as a nice little sleeper. So those are my start, sits, and sleepers for the quarterback position for Week 14. Again, this is the last week for you guys. Hopefully you're not playing next week, but this should be the last week right before the playoffs. If you guys do have questions of who you should be starting and sitting, of course, hit some of the comments down below. If you guys did enjoy the content, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that like button as well while you're here. Also, check out our waiver wire video if you have not already. Again, just to help you guys get some players that you should be putting in your lineup or possibly putting in your bench just to take away from the other players. So again, make sure you guys check that out. Make sure you pay attention to our start sits for the running back, wide receiver, and tight end. And I'll check you guys out next time.